So, I have enjoyed having you as my pupils. For as many years as I've been teaching, I have left each graduating class with the same thought. As your last assignment, copy it down. Class is dismissed. Richard?
Bye, Miss Winfield. Have a nice summer, Miss Winfield.
Thank you, Genevieve. Richard, how do you spell opportunity?
O-P-O-R.
2 P's. Now work on your spelling this summer and your reading. You're capable of much better work than you're doing. And it would please me so much if you lived up to my expectations in junior high.
I'll try.
No one can ask for more. On your way, Richard.
Thank you, the Winfield High School Band, for that rousing rendition. I'm sure the lady we are honoring tonight enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you, Tom Pombania. That was just great. I am here today to pay my respects not only as the chairman of the school board, not only as a former pupil, but also as a friend, and to entrust to your principal a small token of the board's respect and thanks for many years of devoted service. That as Elizabeth Winfield has striven to form your characters, to prepare you to fit in to your community, so you in turn will shape the character of that community. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oscar.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. And now, to close our ceremony, we want to pay special tribute to Miss Elizabeth Winfield. Who, as you all know, is retiring after half a century of special service to generations of her fellow citizens. Miss Winfield. Miss Winfield, in the name of all your colleagues, the Board of Education, and indeed Winfield itself, may I present to you this token of our esteem and respect.
Thank you, Vernon and Oscar, for your many compliments. I have been privileged to serve so many for so long. Vernon, you described my new status incorrectly. I'm sure you know the difference between the active and the passive tense. You said, I am retiring. Not so. I was retired. So much for incorrect grammar. Vernon, you must stop telling young people that fitting in, getting along is the be-all and end-all. I have taught them to resist conformity, to march to their own drum, lonely as that might be. I am sure I feel the same way that you of the graduating class feel today. I, too, am leaving the school, never to return. But if you forget everything I have told you, remember, the turtle never gets anywhere without sticking his neck out. Oh, a bus ticket.
But it's a very special ticket. It's good for unlimited travel, Miss Winfield. Unlimited.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for giving me the leisure to enjoy it. I expect I will find many like myself in the same boat. In the same bus, I mean. Good morning, Luther.
Good morning. Mostly junk mail, I'm afraid.
Yep. Return to sender. Return to sender.
This one you won't be sending back. I dread to think how long I've been delivering those paychecks of yours.
Well, why don't you open it and have done with it?
Wouldn't be as interested. I guess your pension checks will be showing up before long. You know, my own retirement ain't too far away.
Not far enough, Luther. Not far enough. Pension checks. Vernon, Elizabeth Winfield. I'm coming to your office today at noon to go over my financial situation. Thoroughly. Have everything ready. Bye.
Morning, Miss Winfield.
Good morning, Clifford.
Give you a lift.
I've been walking to town for over 50 years. I see no reason to change.
Bye, Miss Winfield. That lady's family started this town, and she's taught half the big shots their ABCs. They're still scared of her, and that includes me. She thinks she still owns this town.
Good Lord, Miss Winfield. Some of the people in security has never seen stock certificates this old before. You must have been sitting on them like a broody hen.
Never mind what I've been doing. I expect you to do what's best for me now.
Well, if I were you, I'd sell some of them and put the money into high-interest certificates.
Never. The stock's a family property. Do what you like with the dividends. But I won't sell a single share.
There are some bonds here you haven't turned in yet. Your pension, Social Security. If we work back from what's coming in, maybe we can sweeten it a little, huh?
Vernon, if you, as chairman of the Finance Committee, had approved our pension earlier, it might have been sweeter. Let me know to the penny what I'll have to live on.
Will do. Oh, by the way, Miss Winfield, when are you going to use that bus ticket? It's a great time of year to travel. Not too many tourists about.
Oh, I'm quite content, Vernon. I'm rereading the classics. Those are the books that people claim to have read and have not.
We're in trouble. I can't track down all the Winfield heirs.
Yeah, that's not the only trouble we're in. Miss Elizabeth Winfield is settled in for the winter. I wouldn't say she suspects anything, but she certainly is making no effort to get out of town. Now, I suggest you call Washington, get in touch with that boss of yours, that senator, and tell him his bus ticket idea isn't working. And a lot of other things as well.
You know, you must be on half the mailing lists in the county. What with education this and education that. Now, this one's from your brother George's boy. And,
How nice of you to keep track.
well, it ain't easy, with Winfield scattered all over Robin Hood's barn. Now, let me see now. Hal's in Wyoming, and Wayne's oldest, why, he's in Washington. And his brother's back in, and George. Now, George, he must be getting on in years, ain't he?
Aren't we all?
As I recollect, he didn't even come to your dad's funeral. I'd have thought that'd have been a good opportunity for you to bury the hatchet. Still, you never were the forgiving kind, were you?
Mind your business. Mind your business, Luther. Come on in, Richard. Take off your things. How is school going?
And straight A and lunch and study hall. Not bad, I guess.
Well, not that isn't bad, Richard, but not good enough. What are your family's plans for Christmas?
We're chartering a yacht. Cruising the Caribbean.
Caribbean. Have one of my Christmas cookies. The Caribbean. How nice.
For them, sure, but they're shafting me off to camp.
In winter?
Ski camp.
Well, that sounds exciting.
It's a bunch of sneaker juice. Just want to get away and be alone. I got this great flash.
I never cease to wonder at the vigor of your language. I assume flash is an idea?
The idea is, you talk my parents into letting me stay home and study with you.
What's so terrible about ski camp?
I won't have any friends.
Well, then you must take along some. Come on. Here are some friends to take to camp with you.
The Three Musketeers? I saw that twice.
Now you're going to read about them.
The White Company? What's that?
It's about knights in armor. Oh, here's one you will love. It's full of blood and gore.
The Tale of Two Cities. Wow.
Now, you read those at camp, and when you get back, we'll talk about your book report.
Will you talk to my folks? I could do lots of work for you. Shovel snow, bring in wood. I could even dust your books.
My books don't gather dust. On your way, Richard. Richard, send me a postal card from camp. I'm sure Luther will enjoy reading it.
Will do. Bye, Miss Winfield.
Bye.
It's a mite too cold for you to make it all the way down to the mailbox today.
Hot weather or cold weather, you always bring the mail to my door on baking day.
Well, this is just rubbish, but now this one is from a Lyman. Lyman, now that'd be your sister Janet's family, right?
Well, I'm to be a great-great-aunt again, and they want me to be the godmother.
Yeah, well, now that's good. You can use your bus ticket.
Everybody seems to want me out of town.
Whatever happened to Ben Lyman?
I've no idea.
Now, why don't you kill two family birds with one stone and go see Brother George?
Luther, old acquaintance does not give you the right to poke your nose into my affairs. Richard, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be off skiing.
I split.
After only 1 week. Well, come on in, take your things off. Have you had dinner?
Yes, but I could use a sandwich.
Well, you know where everything is. Fix yourself one. Get a glass of milk. What possessed you to run away?
It was cold.
As little as I know about skiing. I assumed it would be cold.
And it was hard work. Up, down, up, down.
Well, don't they have what they call lifts?
Oh, sure, but I mean me. I kept falling down.
Well, that's how one learns.
I sure learned to fall. My kids laughed at me.
Well, be that as it may. We must notify your parents. Where are they?
I don't know.
Well, that presents a problem.
Why? I can stay with you till I come back. Work on my report.
But you see, I'm going away. I'm leaving tomorrow. I simply must find your family. Operator, a person-to-person call to Senator Chester Winfield in Washington.
Hello, Senator Winfield's office. No, I'm sorry, operator. The senator's in meeting right now. I'd rather not disturb him. Oh, yes, I see. Yes, put her right through. Hello. My name is Lucy Gorman. I'm I'm the senator's secretary. Yes, I can take a message. I really would prefer to. I'd rather not disturb the senator at the moment. Yes. It's your aunt. It's urgent.
Take down everything she says. And Elizabeth, how splendid to hear your voice.
Good evening, Chester.
How are you?
Very well, Chester. But I have a problem. I have one of my students here with me, and his family is off on a vacation. And it is very important that I get hold of them. Mr. and Mrs. Henry Cooper.
Where are they?
Well, if I knew, would I be bothering you, busy as you are? All I know is they are on a yacht, cruising the Caribbean.
That's a lot of territory, Aunt Elizabeth.
I realize that. But couldn't you call the Coast Guard or the State Department?
Well, that's a big order, but I'll do the best I can and I'll get back to you.
If you reach them, tell them Richard left the ski camp, but that I will see he is taken care of until they return. Goodbye.
Lane, what did she want? How do I know? Listen, my friend. When I turned over this project to you, I told you to make abso-damn-lutely clear that Aunt Elizabeth was to be kept in the dark.
Oh, she is. She is. Take my word, Uncle Chester.
I had better. I had bloody well better. Did you get that business about some people named Cooper in a yacht?
I'm getting on to the Coast Guard now.
Just find them. Now, let's get back to the land.
There. What was the name of your camp?
Sunny Slopes. Yuck. I was going to send this to you.
Well, that was nice of you. I'll telephone them.
Don't send me back there.
No, I'm not going to. But I want them to know that you're all right.
Scrat Sunny Slopes.
Yes?
St. Kitts.
Chester?
The Coopers are on their way from St. Thomas to St. Kitts. I've arranged for them to get your message.
Well, if you serve your constituency the way you serve your family, I might be persuaded to vote for you.
Now, that's a compliment. Oh, Aunt Elizabeth, why don't you come down here with the lad?
Perhaps, Chester. We're going to Arthur's for Christmas and the christening, but perhaps we'll come to Washington after that. Will I see you at the christening?
No, I'm afraid not. I have to go to Brussels for a NATO meeting. But you come down anyway. We'll take good care of you. Red carpet all the way.
Will Lane be at the christening?
Lane? Oh, I wouldn't know. I haven't seen my nephew in a month of Sundays. My best to Arthur. Goodbye, Aunt Elizabeth. Good thinking. Good thinking. That should keep her hopping for a while. I almost made a blunder, though, and mentioned the bus ticket. Now, where were we on that Lyman inheritance?
Nowhere.
Then pick it up. You carry the ball in this enterprise, and this project is in your camp. May I remind you, my friend, this is not a minimum rate insurance contract you're dealing with. 6 figures. 6 figures as long as this land is there. So get off your duff and put it together. By the way, stay away from the christening.
Washington, all right.
I said Washington, perhaps. Now, come along. Want you to go to your house, pack some things. You will travel in good clothes, then you will come back and spend the night. Oh, don't forget your toothbrush.
Can I sit by the window?
You can, but you may not until you finish that chapter.
Don't talk them over until you've considered the advantages. Look at what a shopping mall will do for the old town. Look at it from the human factor. It's jobs. Jobs for Winfielders. How many kids do you know who've graduated from high school who can't get a job in their own town? College grads, our brightest, our best, moving away because... Well, I don't have to beat that into the ground. Okay, let's look at it from the economic point of view. It's self-financing. We don't have to float a bond issue because private funds are coming into this town for the first time in years. Services. The corporation is putting in its own roads, its own sewers, its own security system. We won't have to buy a single solitary patrol car. Services completely off the tax roll.
How about fire protection?
I'm glad you asked me that, Jerry. Yeah, we are going to have to give them all fire protection. But look, for 10 years running now, you've turned down the idea of a new firehouse, and we need one. But the corporation will kick in for a new pumper, and the taxes they pay will help build a new firehouse, and we still come out ahead. Okay, taxes. Would you hand these out? You can all read, and you can all count. Here they are, in black and white. Projections of annual tax payments for franchise malls already in existence. Taxes, my friends. Just look at the drop in mill rates alone. Need I say more?
Except for the
Except
simple...
what?
That Winfield has always...
The motto of this town has always been grow or go. We haven't grown in 20 years. Rezone. Grow. We can turn this town around.
You've left something out, Vernon. Elizabeth Winfield.
We're still a quorum, aren't we?
Who's this we're going to see?
My sister Janet's grandson and his young wife, Arthur and Susan.
Miss Winfield, why didn't you ever get married?
Richard, finish the chapter.
Mother, Dad,
Aunt Elizabeth, dear friends, the circle represents the unbroken perfection of love, the love through which our first child has come into the world.
and now, surrounded by that circle, we choose in our own way to welcome our child into his family.
And in our own way, to endow our child with God's gifts to the family of humankind. So, with this pure water, without which all life would cease, will you, Aunt Elizabeth, give to our son the symbol of identity in the family of humankind, a name?
I will. I, Elizabeth Winfield, christen thee Winfield Lyman. Ah, thank you.
It was terrific having you here for Christmas and the christening. I wish you could stay longer.
I wish we could, but your Uncle Chester has invited us to come to Washington. I was surprised that Louisa wasn't at the christening. Your first cousins.
Well, that's something of a story. Louise is kind of far out, you know.
Meaning?
Well, we ran into her at a concert. Susan was out to here with the baby. I don't know, for some reason, Louisa needled her. Cracks about the population explosion, little brood mare, that kind of thing. We invited her to the christening, but she never showed.
What about your brother Lane?
Well, there too. They sent us a present. Said they'd try to make it. But again, no show.
I'm curious about Lane.
Aunt Elizabeth, I'm not one to carry tales. You hear things, but thank you. You don't necessarily have to repeat them, okay?
Call Uncle Chester for me, will you?
Sure.
And tell him that we're coming. There. My sister Janet married Ben Lyman. They had twins, Edward and Emma. Edward had two sons, Lane and Arthur. Emma married Philip King. They had a daughter, Louisa. And that's who we're going to visit now, Louisa.
Why don't we go see them all?
My young friend, a little family goes a long way.
May I see the Statue of Liberty?
Perhaps.
How far is her house?
A good distance.
Are we going to take a bus?
Richard, a wise man, once said, do three things every day. Read a good book, make a new friend, and take a long walk.
Mr. Sharpner still plans to make the 3 o'clock flight to Washington. You better leave. Tell your boss I'll try to catch a later shuttle. Tell him the meeting's stuck dead center over lunch. Nobody's moving. It is better to lose on your own terms than to win on anybody else's.
Class of 62.
You got it.
Valedictorian. James D. Cookman. And this is Richard Cooper, this year's class, not valedictorian.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Well, what are you doing in this neck of the woods?
Walking.
We're on our way to see my niece, Louisa. But what about you? Do you live in New York?
No, no such luck. I live in Washington. I'm here on business.
We're going to Washington to see my nephew, Chester. He's a senator.
Oh, great. You call me when you get there. I'll take you out to lunch.
I'd like that.
All right. Now, a good friend of mine is the assistant curator of the Space Museum. You call me, and I'll set the kid up here for the grand tour.
Oh. Attorney at law. I am impressed.
Yeah, well, don't be. Things aren't what they seem. First day of class, you still ask everybody what they want to be when they grow up?
Yep.
You remember what I said?
I do. A justice of the Supreme Court.
That's right. Closest I've ever come to that is clerking for one. Never mind, we'll talk about that when we have our luncheon date. Now, you better call me, and I'll stick the FBI on you.
I will.
All
Goodbye.
right. I'll see you soon. Happy walking, kid.
Yeah.
All right.
Louisa?
I'm Louisa King.
I'm Elizabeth Winfield. And this is my young friend, Richard Cooper.
Aunt Elizabeth? Well, this is a surprise.
Didn't Arthur call you and tell you we were coming?
No.
Oh, well, then we'll go to a hotel.
No, No, come in. Come in. Anything for family.
Oh, wow. Is this an apartment?
Well, it is now. It used to be a loft.
What's a loft?
Place where they made things, manufactured them.
What?
I was told ladies' blouses, underwear, and shirtwaists.
Can I put the bags away?
Yes, right this way. Another glass, Aunt Elizabeth?
No, thank you.
Miss King, may I watch the ball game?
Oh, sure. There's a television in the sleeping loft around the corner.
Tell me about yourself, Louisa. Do you work?
Oh, I'm just a faceless body in the city planning department.
Well, I would think that your Uncle Chester could be of help.
Aunt Elizabeth, I haven't asked anyone to help me, and I'm not going to ask. I've made it on my own up till now, and I'll go on that way.
Louisa, I am your grandmother's only living sister. Does that mean something to you?
Not really.
Well, at least you're honest.
I am all the family I want. I don't want anything from any of you. As far as I'm concerned, they don't exist.
Well, maybe for now, but when you have your own family, your children will
I don't
grow up.
intend to have any children. Or a family.
You see? That explains your rudeness to Susan and Arthur at the concert. But it doesn't excuse it. Family is family.
Oh, please. Please. Family, family. Christmas cards, birth announcements, and funerals. That's all the family amounts to. And I'm just as happy to keep it that way. Aunt Elizabeth, I am my own woman. And for you, of all people, to preach family, it's just, well, let's just not discuss it. My grandma's only sister.
Louisa!
Look, it's one thing for you to carry a torch for my grandfather, but what you don't know is that Ben Lyman never was any damn good. You were lucky he dumped you. You weren't the first woman he left in the lurch, and my grandma Janet wasn't the last. Poor soul, she ended up hating him.
I don't believe it.
Oh, the whole family knew it.
I don't want to hear any more.
Oh, of course not. You'd rather cling to your girlhood love affair, your lifelong dream of what might have been. Well, if you'd come off your high horse and forgiven my grandma, if you'd just talked to her, if you practiced then what you preach now and been family, then you'd know what he really was. You'd be a lot better off today. When my mother died, I was 18 and I split. It's been that way ever since.
Alone?
You bet. When you were jilted, you had no place to run to. It was either marriage or take up stenography or teaching. Well, the world is a very different place today, my dear aunt. I can do anything, I can go anywhere, I can be whatever I choose to be, with no fantasies about marriage and happily ever after.
But if what you say about Ben is true...
It's true. My own mother told me the only good thing he ever did in his life was to disappear.
Then why did my sister marry him?
I guess she wanted him then. But even so, it wasn't completely her fault. Or Ben's. At least that's what I heard.
What did you hear?
Why don't you ask your brother George? Or aren't you speaking to him either? Some family.
Louisa, you're wrong to say I had no choice. I chose to live by myself, but not for myself, as you do. I've had more children than you can count. I have helped form their minds, shape their lives.
And I respect that. But it doesn't give you the right to shape my life. If you want someone to play God to, why don't you look up my cousin Lane? There's a real prize package. Every year I get some awful gimmick in the mail, some new business he's into. This year it was a calendar. Now he's in the insurance business.
Louisa, I didn't come here to criticize you.
And I don't mean to shout at you, Aunt Elizabeth. I just don't like wallowing around in family sentiment.
Young lady,
Woman. Woman.
I stand corrected. A lady never shouts.
Oh, boy. It's easy to see who I take after.
Is that a compliment? Louisa, how is Phil?
I was wondering when you'd get around to that.
How is he?
I don't know, but I can guess.
Where is he?
My father's probably still doing business at the same old stand, if he can stand at all.
I should think...
I don't care what you think. My father did my mother in. And as for what he did to me, forget it.
Apparently you can't. Whatever it was. Louisa? Yes. We are alike.
No, I don't want you to worry about all that fine print. Let me make it simple, okay? I want you to think of the annuity option as a bank account. That's right. And the great part is that you can withdraw when and if you want.
Keep it down.
Come off it! Up to 10% of the accumulated contract value, and no surrender charge. Of course you can. I want you to talk to your lawyer, and he'll tell you it's the right thing. Believe me, I wouldn't stick you with something that I wouldn't do for my own loved ones. Anytime. What'd you have to do that for?
Because this house is not a home.
Carol, when I am talking to a prospect...
I thought your big deal with Chester was supposed to keep you away from all that.
Well, haven't you ever heard of an anchor to windward? Just...
Hello?
Lane Lyman, Insurance and Adjustment.
Oh, leave her alone.
This is Janice. Hold on a minute. It's for you, Daddy.
I told you to take your calls on the business phone.
All right. Lane Lyman, Insurance and Adjustment. Who? Aunt Elizabeth? Well, oh, well, what a wonderful surprise. Well, of course we would love to see you, yeah. No, nonsense, no. There's plenty of room here. No, you'll stay right with us. It'll be marvelous. Yeah, marvelous to see you. When are you coming? Huh, yeah, right. Okay, we'll be expecting you, yeah. Goodbye.
What was that all about?
My father's aunt is your grandmother's sister, honey.
And she's coming to visit us.
Janice, go out and play. Go on.
First, we can't go to the christening because Uncle Chester says to keep away from this Aunt Elizabeth. And now you turn around and you invite her over here. I don't understand you. I really don't understand at all.
She invited herself. What do you want me to do? Turn her away?
Oh, she can move in for all I care. She's your family. She is all yours. I'll take Janice and I'll go to my mother's.
Come on, be a little understanding, honey. Poor old Biddy's probably 70 by now. She's lonely. She's gonna stop here on the way to Washington. Come on. She's never even seen Janice. Chester's project is coming right down to the wire. If I turn her away, she might get suspicious.
That politician uncle of yours is running your life. You realize that?
True. But what a life it'll be, Carol. If the deal goes through, I get to write the insurance. It could be a whole new start. Think of that. No more scratching for prospects. No more buttering up policyholders.
What do you use on your uncle? Margarine?
Whatever it takes.
You're such a fake.
Here
we are. All ready for you to serve.
Thank you, honey bun.
Thank you.
Taste it. For $64,000, Aunt Elizabeth? What is it?
Isn't that the family applesauce cake?
The minute I heard you were coming, I made Lane dig up the old Winfield family recipe book.
I've often wondered where it went.
Well, you can't take it away from my little bride. She treasures it.
Then why did you and Daddy have to look all over the house for it, Mommy?
You have such a forgetful mommy. Janice, why don't you and Richard go and play a game or something?
Okay.
Bring your place over here. There you are. And that one is for you. Well, isn't this nice? How are things at the old homestead?
Fine.
I heard you retired.
Who told you that?
I believe it was...
Arthur. When we called to tell them we couldn't make the christening.
Damn shame. Retiring you after how many years of teaching?
50 years.
You know, Aunt Elizabeth.
50 years. That's marvelous. You know, our Janice is very bright. She takes after her daddy, I guess.
Would you like to read this?
No, thank you.
Maybe your grandson would like to read it.
Oh, that's not my grandson. He's been one of my students.
Hi. Hi. Where are you going?
Washington.
Me too. We're going to see a senator.
You and your grandmother?
That's not my grandmother. That's my teacher. He's her nephew.
Who?
The senator.
Big deal.
way to Washington to visit my nephew.
That's nice.
He's a senator.
Senator? Which one?
Chester Winfield.
That one I don't know, but I'd like to meet him.
Oh? You're interested in government?
No, just senators.
Hello, Senator Winfield's office.
This is Elizabeth Winfield speaking.
Oh, yes, Miss Winfield. The senator wants to lay out the red carpet for you. Can you call back in an hour? Oh, Miss Winfield, you just missed the senator. He had to leave for a White House breakfast. He should be back in a few hours, and I know he'll be anxious to hear from you. I know how eager the senator is to show you Washington. He's meeting with the Chief Justice at the Supreme Court, but he'll return midday. Oh, Miss Winfield, the senator's so distressed to have missed you all day. Why don't you come by in the morning? We'll pull him out of his committee.
Do not take this office you have entrusted me with lightly. And conserving the nation's energy is of the highest priority in this country's life today, in every citizen's life today, in every member of the Senate and House today, of everyone in this room today, and it is certainly in mine.
Senator, I must speak with you. You've got to make a decision on that Washington Post article.
Just have Lucy take care of it.
Is in the hands of small nations that are often unstable, unfriendly, with a culture hostile to our own, and as we have learned in tragic memory, unbalanced and absolutely criminal. Our energy future must not be in the hands of a 20th-rate small power that can have a political nervous breakdown at any moment. I thank you, gentlemen, for your kind attention.
Well, it's very nice to meet you, Richard. Come see me anytime. As a matter of fact, tell your teacher that she's welcome to bring the whole class down and see how this government works.
That's an excellent suggestion, Chester. Especially since their parents are voters.
Thanks for reminding me. Lucy.
She just stepped away from her desk for a minute, Senator. I think she had a call from the majority leader. Can I help?
Yes, Laurie. Would you give Treasury a jog, have them check with the Coast Guard and see if they've had any word on the Cooper's yacht? Have them get back to me. If not, I'll light a fire under them.
I will.
And have them authorize the Coopers to use the nearest consul's cable facilities to get back to us. Remind them that I'm on the Appropriations Committee. That, Richard, is known as arm twisting. Well, Aunt Elizabeth, I'm sorry to have neglected you, but we get most of our work done at recesses. I've had 3 meetings already this morning.
Senator, there's a call coming in from the State Department. The secretary would like you to take it on the scrambler.
Yes. No, please sit down. It's perfectly all right. Hello, Michael. I see. In the first place, Michael, and I speak for my committee, you had every opportunity to discuss that during the hearing. I'm not overly optimistic about a belated phone call. Just a moment. Just a moment, Michael. Mr. Secretary, you can tell the president, and you can put it any way you want, that the White House had better stay within its writ, and we on the Hill will stay within ours. Some arms can't be twisted.
Chester, we'd better be on our way.
Oh, sit a spell. Sit a spell, please. Richard, would you like to see how this government works?
Sure.
Good. Come along. Laurie, see if you can find Lucy. Have her take Richard down to the floor, show him around, take him to the Foreign Affairs meeting, have him meet the Vice President. Use my name. Then we'll all meet at the Senate dining room for lunch. And if you can't find Lucy, then you take him yourself.
Chester, I have a luncheon engagement with one of my former students.
Oh. Well, some other time, then.
It's the Washington Post. They want to confirm or deny on a report out of state.
No comment.
Senator Winfield's unavailable for comment.
That, Richard, is known as a leak. This town could use some plumbers.
Come on, Richard.
Well, Aunt Elizabeth, you've been making the family rounds. I've been remiss. I haven't seen most of them in a dog's age.
Not even Grover?
Not even my own brother. I should.
How is he?
Well, you know Grover. He takes life as it comes. He's chipper as a lark. You and I can count our blessings, Aunt Elizabeth.
I disagree with your politics, Chester, but you're a good brother.
Least I can do. Well, are you going to visit Uncle George?
How is your family?
Woody has been backpacking around out west, last we heard. He's a little long on hair and a little short on horse sense, but we give him his head. Of course, my Jessica is very special, even if I do say so myself.
What does she do?
Wow. She's taking after you, Aunt Elizabeth. Going to be a teacher. Doing her graduate work with retarded children. Look here, why don't you go see her? You'd be proud of her. It's not often you see a girl with her head screwed on right these days.
Where does she live?
Not a half hour away. I'll give you the address. Yes?
Senator, they've reconvened the committee hearing on energy.
All right, thank you. I'll give you the address. Please go see her. I have to run. The nation is waiting for me to turn on the sun. Free heat. Will you be staying?
No.
Well, do yourself a favor and go see my Jessica. It'll do your heart good. And don't worry about Grover. He'll never want for a thing as long as I live and breathe.
Goodbye, Chester.
I cannot tell you how wonderful it's been seeing you.
Cookman table. Cookman table.
Where's Richard?
We had a great time. He wanted to continue exploring the Space Museum. We're just across the street. He'll come over and join us later.
Good kid.
As Mark Twain said, he'll do to run the river with. You sure it's no bother to drive him home?
No, I don't mind. I haven't seen the old town in years.
Well, nothing really changes. People come and go, and the rest of us stay the same.
Still us and them, huh?
Ungrammatical, but true.
I wish I never left. Cocktail? Would you like a drink?
No, thank you.
No, a double scotch, neat. Thank you.
Why do you say you wish you'd never left?
Well, maybe it's your fault. Maybe I took your teaching too seriously. And I had my roadmap all laid out. College, law school, fight the good fight, conquer the world on my own terms. Well, I've hit a dead end. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a cog in the lobbying machinery.
And that was my fault?
Well, who introduced me to the wrong heroes? Thoreau, Cyrano, Don Quixote. Who wrote in my autograph book, break a lance for an ideal? Now, I've run out of lances.
Well, then why don't you come back to Winfield and start your own practice?
Well, it's starved. See, the truth is that the us's can't afford lawyers. The thems have lawyers already.
The truth might be you like being where the power is.
The truth is, I don't like myself.
I'll get the car. Meet you in the front.
Right. Well, Richard, it's time to say goodbye.
I wish I didn't have to split.
Just think how delighted your family's going to be to see you again.
Aunt Elizabeth.
Time to go.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, as far as the town is concerned, everything's go, except for the planning and zoning board.
I'll handle that, Dave.
Yeah, but you might run into some flack from the Wetlands Commission on this plot right here.
Let's see, that'd be Lane's piece.
Right. It's mostly swamp.
Well, we'll drain it. We're gonna bring in fill when we level over here.
Yeah, well, Wetlands has to rule on that.
No problem. Anyone ever wondered why the old man stuck his oldest son with the worst plot?
Okie dokie. Now, here.
Or where?
Right there.
That's Chester's property.
Well, whoever. You got an access to the main highway here laid out. Now, the state's gonna give you trouble with that.
Well, Chester will handle the state from Washington. But I see no real problem. The basic design is flexible. I'll check it out before the board meeting.
Gonna take out that big old maple?
Hi, Luther. Brought me a bag of money?
Oh, nothing so good, I'm afraid. No. I got a registered letter here from Miss Elizabeth. As a matter of fact, I've already been holding it longer than the rule, but she ain't nowhere to be found. Got any ideas?
No.
Well, any ideas who might?
I don't know. She's got a senator in the family. You know the one.
Sure I do. Chester.
Might try him.
Can I use your phone?
May I use your phone?
Oh, my God. She's got you doing it, too.
There's always a lot of pork in these budgets. Where do they hide it?
What is it, Laurie? Put him on. Hold on a moment, please. It's from Winfield. Someone named Fry. Says he's a registered letter for Miss Elizabeth.
What? Letter from whom?
Didn't say. Some kind of town business. I just thought that maybe we ought...
Just tell him I have no idea where she is, and if I did, I probably wouldn't tell him.
Or something close to that.
Exactly.
Mr. Fry, the senator's extremely sorry. He can't help you. If he does find out, he will call.
Lucy, what would I ever do without you?
Oh, you'll always get along. On what you can steal from blind men's cups.
All right.
Chester, has it occurred to you that you and I are rapidly approaching the point of no return? Oh, what's more, Dolly knows. Your wife's not stupid.
I know she knows. We'll wait until the end of my term. That is no campaign promise.
Why don't you steam it open?
You're the ones holding it.
Hey, you trying to get me thrown in jail?
You know, if I thought it would help Elizabeth, why, I'd surely be tempted to chance it. Planning and zoning. Planning and zoning. I don't know, Sonny. I got to smell something's going on here. I got a feeling that someone's trying to put one over on Elizabeth, and there she is, gallivanting around the country on her bus like there's no tomorrow.
Sorry about all those stairs. You all right? All right, we're right here. Now, you'll have to forgive us. We're a little bit of a mess because we've been painting, so we don't quite have it together yet. But...
When she comes... Oops.
Max! This is my Aunt Elizabeth. Aunt Elizabeth, my friend Max Winfield.
Hi.
Oh, if you could see your face.
Does your father know about your friends?
Not if he insisted on your coming to see me. Unless the senator figured you could talk me out of living in sin. Never underestimate a politician, Aunt Elizabeth. But it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. It's my life. And we get along just fine. We like each other a lot.
Then why don't you get married?
We might. Once I get my degree and Max gets established and we decide to have children. Hey, it's your turn to do dinner.
Sorry, love. The switched rotation on me. See you later, Aunt Elizabeth.
Look at what Jason is doing. Music, writing, reading. You watch. That little clown is going to be mainstreamed and live up to the limit of his potential. Susie can tie her shoelaces, Jimmy can count well enough to make change, and Jason can read. Jason can read. Compared to the way those kids try, I'm nothing. Talk about victories. They're going to have lives in the sunlight. Penny for your thoughts.
Your Uncle Grover.
Grover. Can you imagine where he'd be if he'd had the chance?
Your father said he's very well.
My father believes what he wants to believe. Let me show you something. I got a Christmas card from Grover. He's miserable.
Dear Jessica, I sure do get lonely living by myself, Jessica. A person don't have anybody to visit with. I sure do miss Mama and Papa. I hope you have a nice Christmas and a happy New Year. Lord bless this poor soul, Grover Winfield. Your father said, chipper as a lark.
Go see him, Aunt Elizabeth. If you skip everybody else, please, go see Grover.
I'm your father's Aunt Elizabeth. Elizabeth Winfield. Thank you. What do you do with yourself, Grover?
Well, I keep house just like Mama left it.
Good.
In the summer, I help people out with their gardens. And in the winter, I fix things. In Papa's workshop, that's just the way he left it, too. You want to see it?
Of course.
There isn't that much work nowadays, you know. Chester says I don't have to worry. Chester sends me money regular.
That's what he told me.
Chester said my land's going to make me rich someday.
I hope so. That's nice workmanship, Grover.
Papa told me. Papa said he's good with my hands.
All the Winfields were. Did you know that much of the family fortune came from the Winfield chair factory?
Uncle George told me that once.
Oh, yes, the Winfield rocker was famous. Not a nail in it, only pegged and glued.
Well, that's the way Papa taught me.
And his father before him. Look.
GWW.
George William Winfield.
Is that Uncle George? Oh, I like him. He always been real nice to me.
No, that was my father. He must have handed it down to your father.
Poor Uncle George, I hear he's been awful sick. He won't come see me anymore.
Oh, he must never put a blade down on his blade.
I'm sorry.
Sure is nice sitting here visiting with you. I wish you could stay longer. I haven't seen Chester or anyone for a long time. Sure gets lonesome around here without family. That's Alice in Wonderland. You ever read that?
Oh, yes, it's one of my favorites.
Mine too. I read it 1,000,000 times. Down the rabbit hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and having nothing to do. My favorite part is where she gets bigger and littler.
Where'd you learn to read?
Mama taught me. Of course, there's lots I can't spell out. Mama used to read the hard parts to me. You sure you can't stay longer? Mama's room's all made up.
Very well, Grover. I'll stay overnight. However, this bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice, it had in fact a sort of mixed flavor of cherry, tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, coffee, and hot buttered toast. She very soon finished it. Ah, what a curious feeling, said Alice. I must be shutting up like a telescope. And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size for going through the little door.
Okay, now
check the gaskets and the front seal and the back seal. And will you do me a favor? Don't wear your gloves this time. You can't check
Am
the
I
oil.
doing this or are you doing this?
Well, you're doing it.
Well, then would you let me do it and not
All right,
you don't have to tell
fine.
me everything.
Well, I'm the guy on the
I'm
front.
confident
I
like
found
you
it.
are. Just you found it, but I'm fixing it. That's the
good.
story every time. I'm trying it. What's wrong? Oh, damn.
Model T, 1926. And you are?
George Winfield the fourth, man.
I'm Elizabeth Winfield, your grandfather's sister. You look so much like him.
And Elizabeth. I'm Madge.
How do you do? Two, three, four.
George 2, George 3, and George 4.
What a beauty. She must have been quite a lady in her day.
Do you like cars?
That's vintage. Yes.
George, Madge, come on, soup's on. Wash your hands. Well, I'll be damned. And Elizabeth.
George,
What are you doing in these parts?
visiting family? I've just been to see Grover.
Then I guess he told you about my dad.
He did.
Well, come on in. Yubi! Yubi!
Dinner's on the table.
Yubi, have I got a surprise for you?
Don't tell me you picked up another Model A in a basket.
No, ma'am. Better than that. Got another Winfield for dinner. This is Dad's little sister, Elizabeth.
Aunt Elizabeth. Oh, we've heard so much about you. It's just lovely to meet you. Finally. How long can you stay? We got loads of room. You two go wash up. George, take Aunt Elizabeth's bag up to the spare room. I guess you met George and Madge already. Madge, go get out of that jumpsuit.
Go on.
And these are my two young ones, Justine and Betsy. Betsy, stop whispering. It's so nice to see you, Aunt Elizabeth. It's just marvelous to have you here. Please sit down. Justine, get a chair for you, Aunt Elizabeth. Make room there next to your father. George, go get some plates and silver.
Thank you.
Please excuse the everyday china.
Hello.
Betsy wants to know if you're the one who sat on the eggs.
Hey, who says you could wear my shirt?
Quiet.
Justine. Sorry. Justine.
Yubi, we bless thee, Lord, for thy bounty and for the added blessing of family beneath this roof. Amen.
Amen. Gee, I wish we'd known you were coming, Aunt Elizabeth. We could have phoned up Grandpa George and fetched him down here. That would have been a real surprise.
If you're gonna eat, eat. If you're gonna talk, talk. Don't be doing both at the same time.
I bet Grandpa would have come for my birthday if he had been feeling better. Wouldn't he, Daddy?
All right, let's eat. Aunt Elizabeth and I have a lot of family catching up to do.
Aunt Elizabeth.
Yes, Justine?
My name's Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can't remember who you are either. Everybody calls me Betsy.
That's what they used to call me.
those cranks we saw at the show last year? The wooden ones with brass on the ends?
Yeah.
We'll have to get one of those for the ends. Yeah, the wooden one with the brass on the ends of it? Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, starting.
Elizabeth, I'd like it if you could manage one more stop before you head for home.
I know you and Dad have something between you, and I know it's a fair-sized detour. But Dad's not well. He's not well at all. It'd mean a lot to him.
George, I've done a lot of traveling. I'm tired.
You speak a lot about seeing the others. How you can pass him by is beyond me. Family meaning so much to you, you say? Dad may be farthest away, but he's blood closest to you. Anybody understands about family, it's him.
I don't want to open up old wounds. And I don't think your father would want to either.
You're wrong. He's always talking about you, Aunt Elizabeth. Everything my kids know about home and family, they learn from him.
It's always little Betsy this and Sis Betsy that. I'll tell you something else. All right? He's always yearned to go back and see the home place.
Why didn't you ever write to him and ask him to visit?
He knew where I was.
He wanted to be asked.
Ma'am, we're practically strangers, you and me. But I know my dad. Nothing could have passed between you two so bad for the last of kin to be strangers. Let me get you on a plane. You'd be across the state quick. Please.
I'll think about it.
Believe it or not, this thing works better than George's new one.
I'm sure it does, goodbye. Wonderful goodbye, George. Goodbye.
I can still get you on that plane.
No, I'll have more time on the bus to think about what you've said before I get.
Well, give Dad my love. Well, he's got mine. What he needs now is yours. Safe trip.
Why don't you sit down? Now you can bang that thing till the handle comes off, but I'm going to be hurt. Winfield started this town. Winfield's made this town. And Elizabeth Winfield deserves a say in what's going to happen to it.
Luther, you're out of order, and the question has been called.
I'm not against them all. Why should I be? No skin off my teeth if you build on Winfield's end. Matter of fact, round about the time it's done, why, I'll be retired. I'll be looking for work. And it could be the more will make the difference to me between eating and scratching. Makes no never mind what I think. Elizabeth deserves better from you all than what you gone and done. Why, the whole thing's been railroaded through. And you ought to have done it without her having a say.
Luther, you're out of order. The question's been called. The clerk will poll the town council. Those in favor of acceptance by the town of Winfield of the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board, the town engineer, the town attorney, and the Wetlands Commission will signify in the usual manner. The proposal is accepted.
George,
Should have taken that plane.
George, it's Betsy.
Would you like some tea?
I'd like that, Yubi. What arrangements have you made?
Well, we left in such a hurry, we didn't have time to make many calls. Except Chester. I thought we'd have a simple ceremony, service right here. Yubi's family asked if we wanted to bury Dad in their family plot, but I don't know. I've always held for burying Dad back our way. Make things much simpler. I'd like to keep him close by.
No. Nope. George must be buried in Winfield with Mama and Papa and the rest of the family.
I'm sure Dad would have wanted it that way.
Thank you.
Did you really sit on the eggs?
Heavens, that was so long ago. I was about 3. Mama sent me out to collect the eggs. We had a broody hen who always lost them.
But you found them.
I found them. And I asked my brother George if I could grow them into chicks. And he said I could if I hatched them myself. So I sat on the eggs. What a mess. Oh, what a mess. But I never told on my brother George. May I ask what you're doing?
Shooting a line, lady. Just shooting a line.
Are you aware you're on private property?
All I know is I got a survey to do.
For what?
It's gonna be a shopping mall out here.
Who is responsible for this?
I can't answer about that, ma'am. I'm just the surveyor for the corporation.
You're standing on Winfield land.
I can't answer about that, ma'am. Do you own it personally?
Well, not personally. This is the family cemetery.
Well, I have to get on with my work, as I'm sure you can understand, but I will tell you, this parcel here, plus all the rest of what's close to 100 acres around us, is part of my survey. Leaving out the house there and a few acres around it.
My few acres.
If you say so.
And the rest is Winfield land.
At one time, maybe. This whole area has been rezoned commercial. It's unlikely we'd be here if the shopping mall corporation didn't have clear title.
I see. Well, thank you very much for the information. This cemetery is sacred ground. Stay away from it until I can get this matter cleared up. My name is Winfield. Elizabeth Winfield.
Well, mine's Tommy O'Donnell. We'll be careful, Miss Winfield.
Thank you. Mr. Cookman, please. James, this is Elizabeth Winfield. How would you like to take on a case you can't possibly win? When I was away, they're going to use all the Winfield land for a home. The council. So, I have enjoyed having you as my pupils. For as many years as I've been teaching, I have left each graduating class with the same thought.
Here are some scenes from part 1 of Family Reunion.
Good morning, Clifford.
That lady's family started this town, and she's taught half the big shots their ABCs. She thinks she still owns this town.
A bus ticket.
But it's a very special ticket.
It's good for unlimited travel, Miss Winfield. Unlimited.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for giving me the leisure to enjoy it.
We're in trouble. I can't track down all the Winfield heirs.
Yeah, that's not the only trouble we're in. Miss Elizabeth Winfield is settled in for the winter. I wouldn't say she suspects anything, but she certainly is making no effort to get out of town. Now, I suggest you call Washington, get in touch with that boss of yours, that senator.
When I turned over this project to you, I told you to make absolutely clear that Aunt Elizabeth was to be kept in the dark.
She is. Take my word, Uncle Chester.
I got a feeling that someone's trying to put one over on Elizabeth, and there she is, gallivanting around the country on her bus like there's no tomorrow.
Emma married Philip King. They had a daughter, Louisa.
Ben Lyman never was any damn good. You were lucky he dumped you. If you practiced then what you preach now and been family, you'd be a lot better off today.
But if what you say about Ben is true, then why did my sister marry him?
It is better to lose on your own terms than to win on anybody else's.
James D. Cookman, attorney at law. I am impressed.
Don't be. Things aren't what they seem.
Now, you'll have to forgive us. We're a little bit of a mess because we've been painting, so we don't quite have it together yet.
When she comes. Whoops.
Max, Aunt Elizabeth, my friend Max Winfield.
Grover,
Do I know you?
I'm your father's Aunt Elizabeth.
Well, I'll be damned. Aunt Elizabeth, what are you doing in these parts?
Visiting family.
Winfield's made this town. And Elizabeth Winfield deserves a say in what's going to happen to it.
You're out of order.
Why, the whole thing's been railroaded through.
We're still a quorum.
May I ask what you're doing?
It's going to be a shopping mall out here.
You're standing on Winfield land. James, this is Elizabeth Winfield. How would you like to take on a case you can't possibly win?
And now for the exciting conclusion of Family Reunion.
Aunt Hattie who? Was she a Winfield?
Not officially. She belonged to one.
People don't belong to people.
Slaves did.
Dedicated to Mama by her loving daughter. A black Winfield? Are there any others?
She had a son. He was killed at Gettysburg. James! Come on, Richard.
Miss Elizabeth! Richard! Hi, Richard.
Hello, Mr. Cookman.
How are you? Well, made it. Complete with Rosinante, shield, and lance.
Who's Rosinante?
That's Don Quixote's horse.
Oh.
Well, it's nice of you to let me stay here, Miss Elizabeth.
It's good of you to come.
Well, how could I afford not to? It's not every lawyer who gets a chance to fight a case he can't possibly win.
Are you going to help us fight them all?
Well, that's what it says here. Now, come on, Richard. Give me a hand with these 2 bags. I'll take the rest. 1, 2.
James, you're going to have to go into town immediately.
Well, I don't have time for a drink first?
No, it'll have to wait. The town office is closed at noon on Saturday.
All right. You better go.
Dinner's at 6.
I'll see you later. I'll remember. Onward!
Good for you.
Are you going to fight them all?
Well, I may lose, but I'm going to try. Richard, I'm planning a family reunion. Would you like to help me?
Sure.
Well, why don't you come home with me now? and we'll talk about the reunion.
I got a great idea. I'll make a stop and see you later.
I did it!
What have you done?
Talk about bargains. I got the whole 200 for $1. Mrs. Hammersley gave me a special price.
I don't wonder.
Isn't that a great color?
It's called puce. Now, let's get started with the mail.
How's the invitation coming?
It's pretty well finished.
Did you use any of my ideas?
Some. Now, listen. You are cordially invited to attend the reunion of the Winfield family on Founder's Day. To reacquaint yourself with the heritage you share in the town of Winfield.
What about games, prizes? Oldest Winfield, youngest Winfield, fattest Winfield, skinniest Winfield.
Good idea. I am going to send a map with each invitation and instructions to bring their favorite food for a lunch, just as we always used to. I will provide the dinner.
For 120?
Oh, I don't think there'll be that many. Now, I want you to go to the post office and get stamps. Not the garish commemorative kind. Then I'll see about having this invitation copied.
Mr. Benneker, the advertiser, will run them off cheaply.
Oh, I doubt that. The advertiser endorsed them all and I canceled my subscription. Nope. I'm going to the president of the bank and have him volunteer the use of his copying machine.
Does he know that?
Not yet.
How many have we got so far? There must be 1,000.
123, and that doesn't include in-laws and offspring.
What a family.
Oh, Richard, you keep saying that.
5:58. I'm right on time.
Right.
Well, there's good news and there's bad news, but I finally tracked it down.
What's the good news?
News will have to wait. My dinner will not. See you tomorrow, Richard.
Bye, Aunt Elizabeth.
Bye.
And I'm still thirsty.
Well, there you are. Help yourself.
Thanks.
James, I do appreciate your leaving your work in Washington to come and help me.
Well, it's not entirely unselfish. It's a relief from pushing corporate papers around, lobbying. I figured this is a good place and a good time to figure out where my head is really at.
What a locution.
Yeah, I know. Ending a sentence with a preposition is something up with which you simply will not put. You know what I mean. It's crossroads time for Cookman. Stay in Washington or a fresh new start. James Cookman, Esquire. Lawyer for the people. But now for the good news. I've been able to track down the Greater Winfield Corporation. It was set up over a year ago by your dearest relatives.
Thank you.
Inheritors of sections of the original 100 acres that were left by your grandfather and pooled together, according to the charter, for their mutual benefit, unquote.
All but my 5 acres.
Exactly. With everybody holding shares in the corporation prorated to their acreage, so forth. And now for the bad news. Your friendly banker isn't the guiding spirit behind the deal. President of the corporation is one Lane Lyman.
Lane? President? But he's not capable.
No, he's just the figurehead. See, the real power, the manipulator, the puppet master, is your other nephew.
Chester? So Chester is behind them all. I should have suspected that.
Right, so, 2 ways to go. And only one of them's any good, really. Go to court, and we seek a temporary restraining order.
What will that do?
Stop them cold. Right? Force them to stop work on the mall immediately.
Then do it.
Well, Miss Elizabeth, the court might grant the order and it might not. Even so, it's only a delay, and besides, you'd have to post a substantial bond, which you might very well lose.
Have I an alternative to posting a bond?
Yeah, one. I think that Chester might have outsmarted himself on this one. See, corporations take action by shareholder vote. So all you have to do is swing your family against him.
That's all.
Well, those are the only choices for right now.
Not one of the families I visited said anything about all this. Except Grover. He said Chester told him his land would make him rich one day. I paid no attention. This is not a matter of how proud a woman I am. It is the family pride. Would you come?
Sure.
Will the restraining order stop the work until the Founders' Day reunion?
Well, it can, but you'll have to post a bond. Maybe a large one.
How large is large?
75, maybe 100,000.
You told me I had no choice.
No? Can you do that?
I think so. And then the families who come will see the land they're willing to ruin for dollars.
And then what?
One thing at a time, James. Start the lawsuit immediately. Even though my father used to say, go to court over a sheep and you'll end up losing your cow. James! James! Where are you going?
Don't worry. I'm expecting to hear about our court case today. I'm so concerned about posting that bond. You're sure it's no problem for you?
No problem whatsoever.
All right. Wish me luck.
More of the usual junk, I'm afraid. What a waste. You know, I can remember when stamps just cost 2 cents. Incidentally, I'm sorry about that registered letter, Miss Winfield. I guess it arrived too late for you to kick up a fuss.
Well, that's water over the dam, Lisa.
I'm sorry, too, about what's going to happen to your land. You know, I did a lot of sparking in that old copper beach they're going to dig down. When it goes, my initials go with it. Plus one heart and arrow with initials on it that didn't belong to my wife. God rest her soul. Yep, them bulldozers gonna scrape away a good part of my life, too.
I know how you feel. You're a good friend, Lucy.
Naturally, we'd be interested in acquiring your property, Miss Winfield. In fact, Senator Winfield, our chairman, you know, anticipated the possibility that you might want to sell.
How very thoughtful of him.
Yes, he's a very fine man. Here we are. Let's see, 5 acres, more or less, with house and barn. I have the assessment figures here, but they're unrealistic in view of inflation. Well, I'm authorized to offer you $200,000.
May I have that paper?
Oh, yes, sir. you'll want to study our offer. You realize that the house and barn are of no value to us. We'd have to knock them down.
I hadn't thought of that. Don't make a fuss, Vernon. No need for your coat.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Miss Winfield.
I've come to borrow some money against my property.
Borrow on your property? Well, an outright sale would save you interest payments.
I'm not asking for advice, merely a loan. How much can you lend me?
Well, now, the last time I saw the place, it seemed to me it wasn't in the very best of condition.
Well, it seemed to me I asked you a perfectly simple question.
Yes, you did, ma'am, and you deserve a perfectly simple answer. And now, on a demand loan, we could give you up to 50% of the value of the property. Offhand, I would say it was worth $100,000, so 50,000 would be in the ballpark.
And half of 200,000 is 100,000? Is that correct?
Correct. Well, I'll have the papers drawn. I'll see to that, too, Miss Winfield.
Yes?
Miss Elizabeth, we're due in court tomorrow.
Are we ready, James?
Ready as we'll ever be.
What time?
Judge Summers arrives at 9 o'clock sharp.
We'll be there at 8:59 sharp.
See you then.
Goodbye.
It is our contention that the Zoning Board, in granting a variance to the Greater Winfield Development Corporation, wrongfully denied my client her right to be heard as owner of the abutting property.
You refer to a gathering at the home of the Zoning Board Chairman Vernon Markham, at which a majority of the board members were present?
I do, but we also hope to prove that that was not just a social gathering, but rather constituted a closed meeting of the board in violation of our state's sunshine codes.
But subsequently, there was a public hearing.
Yeah, of which my client received notice after she had left town. A circumstance known to each and every member of the board.
Frankly, Counselor, I am not thrilled with your position.
Your Honor, we will demonstrate a deliberate pattern
I have all that here. Miss Winfield, I am sure counsel has advised you that a bond would be required of you to make good any loss the corporation might suffer as a result in a delay in their work.
He has?
Should your claim fail, and there is a good chance that it might, you could lose all or part of this sum. I most earnestly urge you to consider.
I am not a child, Your Honor. I have considered the circumstances.
Very well. In view of this petitioner's standing in the community, the court is inclined.
I ask for no favors?
Yes. The temporary restraining order is granted. I will require the posting of a bond of $100,000. I will receive briefs from both parties, and I will notify you when judgment will be rendered.
Oh, yes, with regard to that date, Your Honor, petitioner requests that the judgment be handed down just before Founder's Day. Now, that would be on...
I am familiar with that date, Counselor. I will grant the request.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You are welcome, Elizabeth.
See that she puts it in writing.
Oh, Mr. Cookman, as attorney of record, may I have your business address?
Of course, Your Honor. My mission, 22 Elm Street, Winfield. I'm hanging up my shingle in town.
Welcome home, Jim. And congratulations on your first client.
Scratch Washington.
Well, holy can, Luther, what's the occasion? I got a letter from my uncle. Uncle Sam, that is.
The authority of the United States Postal Service. Dismissed as...
Yeah, cut off with a month's notice. Elizabeth tells me that Washington's loss is Winfield's gain. I'd like to give you a new client if you want one. I'm mighty proud of you, James, as your dad would have been, God rest his soul. He was the best lawyer for 100 miles around. I used to go to him for things when you were just little Jimmy to me. Now, you know that gang in Washington. Can they do this to me?
I don't know, Luther. They're cutting and slashing everywhere.
Well, I'd like to hire you to find out. They promised me a whole year's extension. Now, suddenly, 43 years. Rain and shine, gloom of night. Now they're dumping me and doubling up with a younger fellow on my route, and there's going to be a hell of a lot more like me.
Yeah, did they give you that extension in writing?
Yep. After a fuss about my age, my birth certificate got lost the time the town hall burned down, but it's there somewhere. I must look it up.
All right, I'll need to see that letter first.
Yeah, well, I know you're busy with Miss Elizabeth's affairs, but as soon as you can, if you'd get into this. Fight 'em. And not for free, neither. Oh, I'm no pauper. No, I've been living small since my Clara died. I've been careful. Oh, I won't starve. But principles, principles. I got a son in Texas, and I got a daughter in Florida, and they've been wanting me to visit them. So I might just borrow Elizabeth's bus ticket. Yeah, I might just do that. Yeah, I might just do that. Not to move in on them. Oh, nothing of that kind. No, just to go to see them. 43 years. Fight 'em, Jimmy. Win, lose, or draw. Fight 'em.
I'll do my best, Luther.
Moreover, apart from constitutional consideration delimiting correction, delineating the separation of powers pursuant to joint congressional resolution number
Leave it blank. I'll
of
supply it.
1973, within 60 days, correction, upon the expiration of 60 days of commitment by the executive of military forces outside the territorial limits of the United States, the executive, correction, the president is required to return to the Congress for permission, correction, authorization to continue said commitment. Accordingly, this committee, correction, it is the sense, correction, it is the mandated obligation of this committee to ratify, correction, to place, correction, to respectfully place the president on notice.
Senator,
No call.
pick up the phone. It's Vernon Markham at the Winfield National Bank.
All right, Laurie, type up everything you got so far. Hello, Vernon. How goes the battle?
Winfield's office.
Just simmer down, Vernon. Vernon, will you simmer down? All right. All right, Vernon, don't talk to anybody. I'll be right there. Right. Lucy, cancel all my appointments and have the car brought around.
It's the Associated Press. It's a wire report on a court story.
No comment. No comment.
Sorry, Senator. Sorry, Helen. The senator's not available.
All right, wrap up this draft resolution. Give it to the committee majority, ayes only.
Yes. But it's the Washington Post, the New York Times.
No comment.
What happened?
Elizabeth Winfield is suing to stop the mall.
Yes, Mr. Germany. Yes, Mr. Germany, you may have 2 words. No comment.
Why, Chester, come in.
Well, Aunt Elizabeth, you're looking well.
Well, how nice of you to come all this way to tell me that.
This lawsuit is ill-advised.
When I need your advice, Chester, I will ask for it. Chester, we have stopped you.
No, you have not. What you have done is planted yourself smack in the path of progress for this town, which you profess to love so much. And Elizabeth, I am not unsusceptible to the tug of nostalgia, tradition, family. But a town is like a swimmer in deep water. If he stops, he goes under. And progress...
Is that your idea of progress? Blacktops, traffic, tawdriness?
My dear Aunt
We
Elizabeth,
differ.
undeniably. But allow me to tell you...
Allow me to tell you. There is a dream I have. That when this reunion is over, Winfields will come back and build again.
Build what? Log cabins with root cellars? Cut the pond in the winter for ice? Raise horses for buggies? Aunt Elizabeth, no one, I bow to no one in my admiration for your courage or my respect for your dream. I grant you the privilege of marching to your own drummer, but you must not march backward into the past.
If more people cared about the values of the past.
This is getting us nowhere. Perhaps I did go about it wrong. In a way, it's a compliment to you. I will take on anyone in the Senate. But I thought you would be a tougher adversary. But the fact is, what's done is done, so I will lay it on the line. This delay will hurt us. We will win, of course, but it will hurt. So speaking for the corporation, I offer you $300,000 for your property.
Not for $1 million.
And Elizabeth, you are an obdurate, stiff-necked, opinionated, willful woman.
In short, a true Winfield. Chester, your invitation to the reunion. It will save me a stamp.
Sam, that's no argument. You have plenty of time off coming. Besides, it's not that much of a trip.
Now, you talking trip, I'd rather head on down south. Get some fishing in, get some sun.
It's not the same thing, and you know it.
Let's not make a big thing out of it, friend. You want to go, go. Look, I'll even make sure that I stay on the day side so Eric won't be by himself come nights. But you're right. I'd just soon give it a miss. But you should go to your family.
You and Eric are my family.
Never heard from one of them since we were married.
That cuts both ways, Sam. Your people haven't exactly beaten a pathway to our door. Besides, it's time Eric found out where he's from.
That kid knows where he's at. And that's the important thing.
You're going to be late for school.
Thank you for the planks and sawhorses, Mr. Snodgrass. You'll get them back soon, along with some great advertising. It was getting too expensive. Then I got this great flash. I figured out a lot of deals for what we're going to need. Mr. Eskison is going to do the pictures. Mr. Melchman is giving us hot dogs. Mrs. Hammersley is going to give us decorations. And Mr. Burns is going to give us rolls for the hot dogs. And Mr. Snodgrass is going to take care of the planks and sawhorses. So, that's the tables, the group pictures, the decorations. All for free.
How dare you humiliate me by asking for things for free in my name?
Oh, wow.
You cancel those deals. Do you hear me?
Yes, Aunt Elizabeth. Okay. Scratch it.
I've often been firm with my students, but I've never shouted at one before.
Well, you just made a big breakthrough.
Richard! Richard! Please. Please forgive me. I know you were only trying to help. But it's never been easy for me to accept help. The reunion is becoming a burden financially. Maybe you could arrange a token payment.
Well, sure. No sweat. But I don't think they'll take tokens.
Hello? Take these on up to the dining room. We can use every chair we can get. Al, make sure there's enough lumber left over for a few tables up by the back porch.
There's enough wood to rebuild the barn. That Richard. So far, I have 10 refusals and only 23 acceptances.
Well, you know, people always make up their minds at the last minute. Probably show up in droves tomorrow.
We'll see.
Take your bag, ma'am?
Louisa.
I came early. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. James, this is my niece, Louisa King. Louisa, this is James Cookman, the lawyer, who's helping me to fight Chester.
Nice to meet you.
That's why I came. And to tell you that I'm sorry for the way I treated you.
No. Would you like to go to your room?
Yes, I would.
Just an old-fashioned boy.
That's once. That's twice. And Elizabeth, I want you to know that I am furious about this.
Greater Winfield Corporation to all shareholders, announcing the mall at Winfield. But this is addressed to your father. Did your mother leave him her shares?
Yes. And he's had other letters from the corporation, which I have ripped up, but not a word about the mall or your opposition to it until this. Uncle Chester is a rat. I don't know what you're planning to do about this, but whatever it is, I would like to offer you my help.
You're a true Winfield. Glad you're here.
Atta girl.
That's 3.
Oyez, oyez, oyez. The Honorable Superior Court within and for this county is now open and in session in this place. The Honorable Judge Catherine Make Summers, now presiding. Please be seated.
Counselor, I find nothing in petitioner's arguments, all things considered, ably presented, to demonstrate substantial abuse of the zoning board's discretion. The court therefore dissolves the temporary restraining order. Moreover, I find evidence of damage submitted by the corporation to be proper in the amount of $88,600 and direct judgment against petitioner. Are you able to meet that judgment, Miss Winfield?
I am not.
Then your bond will be applied in satisfaction of that judgment. I am sorry, Elizabeth.
Save your sorries for the town of Winfield, Your Honor.
She's freezing out there. She's watching every single bulldozer crank into place.
Yeah, bank's being generous. They're giving her 30 days to repay the loan.
Well, how can she do that?
Sell the house.
Well, then what? What will she do?
Lose. But on her own terms, Sam. She's a Winfield.
What do you think I am?
I'm finding out. It's tea time. I'll put the kettle on. As long as you got your coat on, we could use a little more firewood.
Everybody, kids? Hey, kids. Guess what I got here, huh? Nobody's gonna top us for family memorabilia. Know what this is? Huh, Betsy? Grandma's Indian gun. Huh?
What makes you think you're gonna get that on a plane?
Oh, I'm way ahead of you, son. Justine, you're gonna wear this on the plane right like that. Isn't that great? Huh?
You're kidding.
Well, nobody's gonna stop a kid, right?
Where's the count stand at?
Not many. 18.
Where's Miss Elizabeth?
She went inside. She said scratch the reunion.
I thought she'd give up so easily.
No, I don't think she wants to. Look, let me get this straight. You said so many acres equals so many shares?
Right.
So, if we got enough shares on our side...
Yeah, but the majority of the shareholders are on their side.
Yeah, but maybe we could work on the women. George's wife, Eubie, Lane's wife, Carol, Arthur's wife, Susan. I think we should work on the women.
Yeah, but the shareholders are men.
Well, they always are.
Including the missing. Now, there's Ben Lyman and his 5 shares, and...
My father.
And your father and his 5 shares.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, he's suffering from a terminal hangover.
If he came, what would you do?
I don't even know if she invited him.
What if she did? What would you do? All right, sorry. Didn't mean to dig up any family skeletons. Hey. I'm sorry, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Now remember, Janice, not a word about your father, all right?
Jessica. Oh, I'm so happy to see you again.
Wouldn't have missed it for the world. I hope you don't mind my bringing my friend. It's his car.
I don't recognize you with your clothes on.
But Max forgot to make motel reservations.
Oh, I have plenty of rooms.
Rooms.
Rooms. There's a shower down the hall.
Oh, hello. Oh, don't tell me you're, Louisa, right?
Cousin George.
Yes, that's me. Oh, we brought Grover with us, right there.
Hi, Grover.
Hello. Oh, you can put this with the family memorabilia, all right? Isn't that nice?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Now, we'll be right back. I just want to get the kids washed up.
And tell her about the airport, Dad.
Oh, yeah, Dad. Tell her about the security
What?
guard.
The FBI.
Oh, knock it off.
Nobody stopped a little kid in a cowboy outfit.
No.
Yeah, Dad.
It's better that we got stopped. Otherwise, we wouldn't have brought the chairs. Okay, all right, we'll be right back. Tell everybody we made it.
Hey, 3 cheers for Dad, all right?
Okay, come on.
Clan is gathering. Brace yourself.
Cousin Eldon, Grandpa Jefferson's side.
Yes, of course. Find your name on the family tree.
I found it. Right here.
Well, we best be getting on back to our motel now.
Oh, coleslaw. Well, thank you very much. That's wonderful. We'll put it right over here with the rest of the famous coleslaws.
Helen, how are you? Frankie? I don't believe it.
They weren't always. Don't tell me. Brian Winfield from Chicago.
Close, but no cigar. Bob Winfield from Cleveland.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Aunt Elizabeth?
Fran.
I don't believe you've ever met my husband, Samuel Baker, my Aunt Elizabeth.
Oh.
And this is Eric, your Aunt Elizabeth.
Hello, Eric. Well, why don't you all go in the living room and check your names off the family tree?
We'll do that.
Well, then do it.
Come on.
Oh, thank you.
Hi. Hi.
My daddy tried to sneak Grandma's gun on the plane. But when we went through that thing at the airport, so he drove. Here's how I had it.
Oh, you beautiful Winfield Lyman.
I have passing a crowd.
Oh, but he's all the Winfield mementos we brought. Shall I put him over there on the table?
No, let's let him find his name on the family tree.
Can I hold him?
You bet.
Now that's a switch. Hey, you two. Where's Lane?
He couldn't make it at the last minute. Something big came up. So Janice and I came along.
Oh, I see. Terrific. I guess.
Here, let me give you a hand. You get the sodas, I'll get the beer.
One beer, please.
Coming up.
How are you?
There you go.
Thank you.
It's a little early, but if you will, I will.
Dad, where do you want this?
Over here. Salute.
Man, Mama never told me. Dad, we've got cousins up to here. I checked our name off both family trees.
Salute.
Salute.
There you go.
Aunt Elizabeth, are these all my family?
Every last one, Grover. Why don't you go around and introduce yourself?
I will. I certainly will.
It's nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Grover. Who are you?
I don't know.
Hello, I'm Fred Winfield.
Max Whitefield.
Winfield?
Whitefield.
We always pronounce it Winfield.
I'm Grover Winfield.
This is Winfield.
Oh, that's right. You know how to shake hands like the grown-ups? Yes, how do you do? How do you do, William Winfield?
Jim? Eric! How you doing, son?
It's fine, Dad.
Hey, friend.
Did you call him Dad?
What you hear is what you get, Turkey.
You call me Turkey.
Yeah.
Hey, cut it out. When I was a kid, I used to hear Miss Winfield talk about her ancestors down in the cemetery. Why don't you guys take a walk down there and take a look at Aunt Hattie's grave? You might realize there could be a lot of Winfields walking around with a little touch of black in them. What?
Who's Aunt Hattie?
Never heard of Aunt Hattie?
No.
Well, it's a long story.
Oops.
What? Where, should we dance, huh?
What, in these shoes?
What? That's all right. I left my top hat and tails at the Gleaners.
Unhand me, sir.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
I'm not.
Night, Ginger.
Night, Fred.
James?
Miss Elizabeth, what are you doing?
Reading the Bible. It helps me when I'm troubled.
Did you find anything?
Best so far, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Well, win, lose, or draw, at least you brought the family together.
Perhaps for the last time.
Now, come on. Let me see.
What are you looking for?
Got it. Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 28. Remove not the ancient landmarks which thy fathers have set. And those are fighting words. Right? The first real estate citation in the history of the law.
James, let's have a meeting tomorrow morning and check that stockholders list again.
You bet. Miss Elizabeth, I am your obedient servant. Okay, so, George, this is the way things stand. The arithmetic is as follows. Chester controls a majority of the shares, pro rata to acreage. Right? So, there's Chester's 20, his brother Grover's 20, His cousin Arthur's 5 and Lane's 5. Where is Lane?
I don't know. That makes 50 shares. With the 20 that my dad left me, that would give Chester 70, right?
Right. That's 70 out of the original 100.
What about the last 30?
Well, there's Hal's 20 and Phil King, that's Louisa's father's 5.
It's 95. And the last 5?
Ben Lyman.
I know how my dad felt about this town and about you, Aunt Elizabeth. I didn't know anything about this shopping mall until after Dad passed away. You know, Chester hooked me. Aunt Elizabeth, I aim to switch. You've got my 20.
Oh, George. Thank you. Thank you.
So, now the count stands. Chester 50 and Miss Elizabeth 20. Now, if we could get Hal's 20, that would give us 40.
Hal, where's Hal?
I don't know, he's on his way, right? He's coming from Wyoming?
He sent his regrets for the reunion.
Do you have his phone number?
Yes.
Great.
Tell Hal that.
I know what to tell him. Thanks, anyway. Bye. Bye-bye. Trouble, Hal. Can't give us a yes or a no.
Chester.
And Lane doesn't know which way to jump, and Carol won't even tell me where he is.
So that still leaves us with 20. We need Lane's 5, Arthur's 5, Lane's hopeless, Arthur's. See, our best bet is Grover.
Now you're talking.
No.
Now, wait a minute. That's 20 shares. It could mean the whole ball game.
I could easily persuade Grover, but I won't, and destroy his faith in his brother.
Well, that leaves Ben Lyman, Phil King. Where's Ben?
I have no idea.
All right. Phil King, where's he?
Well, Louisa let something slip out about Wheeling. I know she has an address book. I'll find him.
Without telling her?
Without telling her. Mr. King?
you, Phil King?
Who the hell are you?
Where did the other one come from?
It's a present from me to you.
But they're priceless.
Oh, well, it did cost a little something for the glue and the stain and stuff.
Oh, you restored it.
No, I made it.
Grove.
I bent the wood with steam, and I didn't use a single nail, only plugs. And you know what was the hardest part?
No.
The squeak. Mostly I have to get the squeaks out.
It is beautiful. I will always cherish it.
It's just like home, you know that?
Dealer's choice, stud, 5 cards.
Got it.
Want to sit in, cousin? Come on.
Yeah,
Sit down there.
I don't know much about cards, but...
It's all right. Yeah, just read the directions.
Cheers. Here we go. Here we go, darling.
That's for you.
Thanks, sir.
That's for you.
4 working. 3 working. Wow, 6 working. Look at it. Uh-oh. Ace high to the new man. Go on, do it.
Jessica, have you seen... Shh.
It's just a little New England hognose. See? Now watch. You touch him. Huh? Look. He thinks that you think he's dead. Plays possum, No, we're gonna let him go, right? Gonna let him go because some snakes are helpful, right? Now what?
Yep.
Watch it. I'm gonna turn him over and let him go home. Huh? Oh, there he goes. Oh, wow.
All right. I got 2 pair, 5s and 3s.
3 queens and 2 10s.
He learns fast, doesn't he?
Phil.
Princess
I am not your princess.
Louisa.
Look, you just stay away from me, okay? Just stay away from me. And that goes for you, too.
Princess! What did I do?
James, take Phil up to the house. He'll stay in your room.
King's over.
3-5. See that, son? Huh?
30 days. Read 'em and weep.
Well, I guess I'm done. Come on, son.
Hold it, Sonny. Speaking of reading. Cut. Jack of hearts. 10 of diamonds. 8 of clubs. 7 of diamonds.
All right, all right. How'd you know?
Bunko Squad. Read it and weep.
Okay. What now?
Oh. We just play another game. And you'll lose. Hey, fellas! Okay. Come on back.
We're running out of serving spoons, Aunt Elizabeth.
I may have some in the attic. Come on. Hold your breath and count to 20.
Whose was this?
That was my mother's.
Just beautiful.
I was to have worn it a long time ago.
I know. My father told me about Ben Lyman. Ever since I can remember, I've heard so much family gossip. Don't you think it's about time I knew the truth?
I was about your age when I was engaged to Ben Lyman. He was what we called in those days dashing. My brother thought he was good enough to run around with, but not good enough to marry a Winfield. So he took it upon himself to exaggerate Ben's escapades. Enough to convince me to break the engagement.
You jilted him? Well, what do you know? I always heard he jilted you.
I know.
So if Ben Lyman wasn't good enough for you, why did your brother let him marry your sister, Janet?
They eloped. Cutest little thing in high heels, we used to say. I expect Ben was getting even with me.
Did he?
I'll give you a definition for pride. Compensation for defeat. Why don't you try it on? I'll take these down.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, have you seen Louisa?
No, wait, have you seen Jessica? She told me to wait around here in the hallway for her.
No.
Is that all you can say?
No. But you gotta make me a promise. If we have a boy, we don't name him Winfield.
Why?
Winfield, Weinfeld.
Louisa, don't do it. Hey, how about a little compassion? Do you have any idea what it means to go cold turkey after 10 years of heavy hitting?
Oh, how well I remember those years and what they did to my mother. Ah, yes, those happy hours with fun-loving Phil, the song and dance man. His merry companions, his snappy sayings.
Yeah, all right, you can stay away from him, but don't walk out on Elizabeth. Your father's practically your last hope. She got nowhere with Lane and Arthur. I mean, you were the one who said she should turn to the women in the family.
And Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I cannot face him.
I shan't ask you to. What about James?
I gave him fair warning. I've come to say goodbye.
Louisa, you and I are like two peas in a pod. We're often stubborn and unforgiving. But don't you make the same mistake I made.
Are you talking about my father?
You know I'm not. You should take one of these with you. You could spend your life in it like I have, with a squeak to keep you company.
Where's the coffee?
Right in there. Oh, what's your name?
What do you care?
Oh.
I'll talk to him. I'll try.
Atta girl.
It's once. But I'm doing it for her, not for him.
How about doing something for me?
Push forward, Princess. Come on.
That's what he did when I was 12 at my first piano recital, when I was 13 at Parents' Day, when I was 14 at the school play. The same damn rotten thing.
You want to dance with the old man? Okay, Princess. Okay. You want me to vote your way? No way, Princess. No way. There's no love in you. Oh, Budgie! You asked me to come here because you needed me. You Winfields. Where were you all when I needed you?
Ready?
Yes. Where is Phil?
Upstairs, sleeping it off.
And Louisa?
Forget it.
Can you?
Probably in about 5 years. Maybe he's right. There's no love in that girl.
You don't mean that.
No.
James, try to understand Louisa. She can be stubborn and unforgiving as I can. But then so can you. One of you has got to give in. Now we're going to the Grange Hall.
It's all over. Al's decided to stick with Chester. It's not even close.
What a hunk.
It's too bad we're related, right?
It's too bad Max couldn't be here. I would have to fall in love with the doctor.
Friends, Winfields, one and all, I would like to say a few words. And since I'm not running for anything here, they will be few. Now, most of you know that behind the festivities of this family reunion, a struggle has been going on. A struggle, may I say, between the past and the future. Not only the future of the Winfield property, but of the town of Winfield itself. It is with respect to that future that I take this occasion, Founders Day, to announce the beginning of a new family enterprise, a new beginning for the old Winfield, the mall at Winfield. I think now it is only fitting that we pay tribute to the Winfield who alone among us has stayed to serve the town and who has brought us all together after so many years. Our beloved Aunt Elizabeth. Thank you. I am grateful that you all came to this family reunion.
This is not the first one. Through the years, Winfields have helped to write our country's history. They have fought our wars, settled our lands, built our roads, our bridges, our railroads. Even though Winfields have gone out into the world, they have always come back to reunite on this land. This is the last reunion of the Winfield family. I hope you are as proud as I am to be a member of this family. But we must not forget, it is not enough to have a name honor us. It is up to us to honor the name. Winfield.
No, Janice, we're hanging on to that land. It may be all we ever have.
Hey, Elizabeth?
Yes, Grover.
I want to say that this is great. And I never knew I had so much family. And I just want to say that I hope we can do it again next year.
There's not going to be a next year.
Grover. Grover. Sit down.
No. Why isn't there going to be a next year? Why can't we have a reunion next year? I want to come. I got some land here. I can come visit if I want to, can't I?
Grover, I said sit down.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
It's all right, Grover.
No, I don't understand. What's this all about?
There's nothing to get upset about.
Where are you going?
Home.
I don't understand.
Hey, could I have your attention, please? Now, look, I'm not a Winfield, but I'm a Winfielder, and that gives me the right to say a few things. So I'll tell you what's going on here, Mr. Winfield, with or without your brother's kind permission.
Daddy, I'm here.
I consider that statement at the least discourteous and most disruptive.
Well, I don't, Mr. Senator. More importantly, I have the floor. Now, I'd like to say a few words to the rest of you, but most importantly, to you, Mr. Winfield.
You can call me Grover.
Thank you. Now, Grover, you and everyone in this room has to decide right now what your heritage is going to become. Now, a heritage is not just something that's handed down like houses and land and family heirlooms, but it's everything that your family was and did and stood for generation after generation after generation. And the future Winfield heritage is being threatened by a shopping mall. A shopping mall! Of course, the Honorable Senator has spoken of the shopping mall in glowing terms, but of course, that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. Even though he thinks that stores instead of streams is progress, and acres of cars instead of acres of trees, and profits instead of principle is progress. But then he's the chairman of the board of the corporation that's putting up the mall. And so when he retires from politics, or politics retires him, he might have that nice job waiting for him. But most importantly, Grover, he has fixed it so that when these little children grow up and want to bring their children back to their home place, back to see where they came from, they're going to find that their family heritage has been buried under blacktop. And when you, Grover, want to come back and visit Miss Elizabeth, maybe next summer, you'll find that too. Now, you didn't realize that when your brother decided what to do with your land. You didn't know what you were going to lose. But you will lose it, Grover. And so will you all.
What do you want me to do?
Grover, it is for you to decide. You're an equal among equals here. Nobody has the right to tell you what to do.
I'm all mixed up. You should have told me, Chester. I don't want to be an Indian giver, but if you want my land, Aunt Elizabeth, you got it.
Thank you, Grover.
Grover, you don't know what you're doing. Sit down.
Oh, shut up!
An announcement, everyone. An announcement. The score now stands 50-40. Favor of Chester.
Now, wait a minute. Uncle Chester, you never explained to me about this mall and what it would really mean. I'm backing off of my promise. Aunt Elizabeth, you've got another 5 shares.
Great. Great. 45 for Chester's side, but 45 for our side. Standoff. Okay, Carol. Carol, what do you have to say?
Everyone knows where Lane stands. Lane stands with me.
Right now, Lane is standing alone and in a lot of trouble, insurance fraud trouble. In fact, he's been asked to stay close to home.
It is unfair of you to bring that up in front of this family. That charge has never been proven, and it never will be. There's much more at stake here than just one family member. Now, we've heard a lot about heritage here today. Has it occurred to any of you that we may be leaving a heritage of resentment among Winfielders? Because there is going to be a mall. This area is crying for one. If not here, maybe in the next town. And when they build it, and they will, what is going to happen then to the jobs that would have gone to Winfielders? The taxes that would have gone to Winfield? You may still pull this off, Mr. Cookman. But if you do, it will be a Pyrrhic victory. In case you don't know what that means, you could look it up. Better yet, why don't you ask your dear old school teacher? See just what her definition is of progress.
Just a single bloody minute, if the honorable senator will yield the floor. Uncle Chester, I never really liked you. Frankly, I never cared very much about any of you, and I certainly never wanted to see the town of Winfield again. I wanted to be out of all of this, and I wanted to live in that forward-looking, modern-thinking world you so admire, Uncle Chester. I really thought I wanted to be alone. Well, Aunt Elizabeth found me out there, and she made sure that I knew what I was turning my back on and leaving behind. So I gave it a try. I came to this reunion, and I found, to my great surprise, a community, a family, a home, and all the love I had buried in the name of the future. Now that's what I call progress, Uncle Chester. to be somebody very specific. In this case, a Winfield, and all that that name implies. And Uncle Chester, you're not going to take that away. Aunt Elizabeth, my father has something he wants to tell you.
You tell him, Princess.
For those of you who haven't met him, I'd like to introduce my father, Philip King. He has an announcement.
I'll make it short and sweet. Elizabeth, for what they're worth, you got my 5 votes.
The score now stands 50 to 45. Miss Elizabeth Winfield, you have won!
Scratch them all.
Everybody, please take their places. Would you please sit down over there? Please take your places.
I had won, and on my own terms.
Miss Winfield, would you please join your family?
Yes. Never again would Winfields turn their backs on the home place. Smile, Chester. Richard, come here. You have earned the right to be part of this family. Perhaps Grover will return to Winfield.
All right.
Maybe Arthur and his family.
Smile, please.
Perhaps even Chester and Luther, too.
Please, everybody, hold your places. Please sit down again. One more for protection.
We cannot know what the future holds. But whatever comes, Winfields and Winfielders will face it together.
Hold it. That's fine. Winfield family reunion.
Lovely. And it was lovely.